Arabian Nights. The Small Lie. Kafoor was a black slave. He worked for a very rich merchant. The merchant was a man of principle. Following his master's footsteps, the slave decided to follow a principle in his own life: to tell a small lie once in 6 months and to tell a big lie once in every 12 months. Once, Kapoor's master, the merchant, planned to go to some other country. So he decided to sell all his slaves, including Kafoor. The merchant appointed an agent to sell his slaves. One of the rich merchants of the city chose to buy Kafoor. "Sir, Kafoor will serve you honestly and sincerely. He will do all your work very carefully and perfectly. He will obey all your orders promptly," assured the agent. The merchant said, "All right, I have heard about all his good qualities, but tell me, does he have any bad qualities?" "Yes, sir, this slave has had one bad quality. He is a man of principle," said the agent proudly. The merchant said, "I am also a man of principle. I never buy any slave until I am fully satisfied that he has passed my tests successfully. But once I buy him, I take good care of him. Now tell me, what is this slave's principle?" "Oh, master, I tell a small lie once in every 6 months and a big lie once in every 12 months, said Kafoor, even before the agent could answer the merchant. The merchant burst out laughing. "Oh, I see. So this is your only principle. People like us lie so many times in a day, but I really don't mind. So come with me," he said. The merchant paid the price to the agent and bought Kafoor as his slave. Kafoor was a hard-working man. He worked honestly, sincerely, and faithfully for his master and his wife. They were very impressed with Kafoor and his work. Soon, they began to trust Kafoor so much that they made him their personal slave. One day, some guests came to merchant's house. The merchant threw a party in their honor at the Rang Mahal, a beautiful structure on the outskirts of the city. While the party was in full swing, the merchant realized that he had forgotten the gold phial of perfume at home. At once he ordered Kafoor, "Kafoor, rush home immediately. Tell your mistress to give you the gold phial of perfume and come back soon." Obeying his master's order, Kafoor left for the house. He had completed 6 months as the merchant's slave. He then remembered that, as per his principle, it was time for him to tell a small lie. Thus, he made up a story to tell a small lie. On his way to the house, Kafoor rolled himself up in the dust and mud on the road and disheveled his hair. As soon as he reached his master's house, he began to wail loudly, "Oh Allah, what a kind and loving master I had! Allah, why did you take him away from us? Why didn't you take my life instead of my dear master's? What will happen to me now?" he lamented. The merchant's wife heard the wailing of Kafoor and came out of the house. She was shocked to hear his words. When Kafoor saw the mistress, he started wailing even louder and said, "Oh mistress, a misfortune has befallen us. My master was enjoying the party in the Rang Mahal when all at once the wall behind him collapsed. My master and the guests were buried alive under the debris of the wall." The merchant's wife could not bear to hear the tragic news brought by Kafoor. She started beating her chest and wailing loudly. She pulled her hair and tore her own clothes in grief. Soon, her 2 daughters and all the neighbors collected there to mourn the death of the merchant. The merchant's wife could not control herself. "What are you waiting for, Kafoor? I do not need all this wealth and grandeur. Take the big hammer and raze this mansion to the ground," she commanded Kafoor. Kafoor could not disobey his mistress's order. He took the big hammer and destroyed everything in the house. The door and the windows, the furniture, cupboards, vessels, and all the other things in the house were completely destroyed. The whole house was ruined. Meanwhile, the merchant's wife, his two daughters, and all the neighbors left for the Rang Mahal. Kafoor rushed back to the Rang Mahal. The merchant and the guests were about to start their dinner. When Kafoor reached there, he began to beat his chest and wail. "What happened? What is the matter? Why are you crying?" asked the merchant. Kafoor stammered and said in a broken voice, "Oh, master, a freak accident has occurred at the house. The mistress was swinging in the room when all of a sudden the wall behind her collapsed and she was buried alive under the debris of the wall. Your two daughters were playing with their little brother right near the swing. They too were buried alive. Oh, master, what a tragedy! What will happen to me in the absence of my dear mistress?" The merchant was traumatized. He was too shocked to think properly. He went mad with grief. He started breaking everything around him. Not a single thing in the Rang Mahal was left intact by the grief-stricken merchant. Everybody left for the merchant's house. As the merchant and his guests were heading toward the house, they saw the merchant's wife and the other people coming towards them. When the two crowds stood before each other, the merchant saw his wife and his wife too saw him. "Oh no, this is my wife's ghost!" cried the merchant. "Oh no, this is my husband's ghost!" cried the merchant's wife. Both of them fell down unconscious. The people who had accompanied the merchant and his wife sprinkled some water on them, and soon they regained their consciousness. The merchant and his wife exchanged the news given to them by their personal slave Kafoor. They also told each other about the damages and destruction caused by the lies. The merchant called Kafoor to him and said, "You devil! Why did you play such tricks?" Kafoor said, "Oh master, I have followed my principle. When you bought me, you had agreed to my principle of telling a small lie once in every 6 months. Today, I have completed 6 months in your service, so I had to tell a small lie. And I did tell one. As per the order of the mistress, I have broken everything in the house. It is my duty to obey the mistress, isn't it, master?" The merchant was furious. "You fool! Don't you realize that I will have to bear a very heavy cost of these damages?" he asked angrily. Kafoor was unperturbed. He said, "Master, your principle is to enslave a human being. According to this principle, you have the right to buy or sell an innocent, harmless, and a faithful man. You also get the right to beat him. Not only that, you may kill him if you wish. A man destroys his life in such slavery and bondage. Compared to such damage and destruction, a small lie of mine has not caused much harm, has it?" If Kafoor's small lie can cause so much damage, what a great calamity could his big lie bring? The merchant wondered. "Kafoor, I no longer wish to keep you as my slave," he added. "But master, you have entered into a contract with the agent from whom you have bought me. As per the contract, you have bought me for 12 months, and so you cannot sell me before the stipulated period is over," said Kafoor. There was a heated argument between the merchant and Kafoor. At last, the matter was taken to the court of Harun al-Rashid. The Sultan carefully heard both the parties. Impressed with the arguments of Kafoor, the Sultan freed him from slavery.